The Modern Warfare 3 portion of the Esports World Cup is over and Atlanta FaZe have been crowned your champions. Let's dive into all the matches we've had. So the Atlanta FaZe are able to be on top once again after a up and down portion of the season and win the Esports World Cup. I think this is one of the most important wins that this Atlanta FaZe team could have, even more important than their Major 2 win. So it was absolutely insane. I'll break down a little bit later why I think that. But to many people's surprise, they took down 100 Thieves, also known as the LA Thieves, in the grand finals, and we were able to see here they were able to place second place. This team absolutely fried. I think that they have a bright future ahead. Before this tournament, I was probably saying keep Ghosty, maybe keep one or two others, and then build around him. But after this tournament, everything changes. I would argue that 100 Thieves or the LA Thieves, however they decide to represent themselves next season, depending on what the league requires, I would argue that the LA Thieves are set right now for Black Ops 6 with their roster. I think these guys are getting better. You saw that over the season. They continue to kind of stick together after their final few changes. They go into champs and make a big splash, knock off some big name teams. I think they finished top 4. Then they show up to the Esports World Cup where there were so many issues. The tournament was cool. The money was great for these teams and the exposure of being able to see them play one more time this season. However, all the technical errors. This tournament was okay ran in terms of all the cool stuff, but it was poorly ran in terms of how the mechanics went within the game and the players. And so for them to be able to overcome all those hurdles and be able to finish second, that is awesome. This team is looking great. Everybody was popping off at this event. It wasn't just Ghosty like I felt like it was at Champs, where you had a few guys pop off here and there, but I felt like the entire Thieves roster was popping off at the exact same time, and this team was nasty. See what I did there? I will say, to kind of address all this drama here, I think this is a legitimate tournament within the Modern Warfare 3 season. No, I do not put this tournament at the scale of champs. I think OpTic are your champs, and next year, regardless of this tournament, OpTic are going to start the season as your defending champs. Just what it is for the Call of Duty League. However, I do think with the money involved, the amount of teams that were there, technically more teams than the standard 12 that we see in the Call of Duty League, and the fact of money, competition, these guys are here and wanting to play, main stage, the way they set it up, this was 100% a structure of a major tournament, and FaZe were able to win. I would even argue maybe this is a little bit bigger than a major just because of the money that's involved. FaZe is winning more money than they did at Major 2. But still, even though OpTic were able to win it all, COD champs, win the ring, they were bowing out top 4 at the Esports World Cup to FaZe. They are shouting out the green wall, even though it is awesome that they won champs. And I know they really wish they could have won back-to-back, but we got to see a lot of other players kind of give their intake on that. Kenny specifically. Kenny talks about right here how he's now finally able to go on vacation. And then he even makes some stand up for, draws one. Don't count this now, right? Obviously showing the kind of the drama of some people saying that because OpTic bowed out, now it's not a legitimate tournament. But if OpTic would have won, it would have been taken just as seriously. Maybe some of their fans, that is true. But this kind of just shows everyone took this tournament seriously. They wanted to win. And FaZe was able to put it together and come out on top. I will say the most impactful loss at this Esports World Cup tournament was the Toronto Ultra going out top 8. I think that this loss that they've had, not making it to the top 4, having a team like Surge, 100 Thieves, be able to make it into the top 4 and then even make the grand finals was a big deal. I would not be surprised if Toronto makes a roster move. They came out on top, won Major 1, and throughout the whole season, they were still pretty consistent and able to make a grand finals appearance, make a bunch of good placings. But it's obvious that they were never, ever, even on games they were good, you still had a hard time committing to them, saying that they are the best team in the league. You never were able to admit it. Even going in after Major 1, you still thought, okay, FaZe got it the next time, and then they win Major 2. But Toronto just had, I think, a little bit of a too inconsistent season. We've seen Insight and Kleenex be on that team for a long time. They brought in Envoy. Did it work? Did it not work? I'm not going to necessarily say one or the other because I think he brought a lot of things to the table that were good, but he also slacked in some areas that he did not slack in on the LA Thieves. And so who knows what's going to happen? I think they are the X factor for Call of Duty Esports, free agency, roster mania going into Black Ops 6. Are they going to make some big drops? And these guys join other top 6, top 5 teams to elevate them up? Or is Scrap going to have enough? Is he going to try to make a demand to go and join a different team, form a super team? And will that just blow everything up? Who knows? But what they do in roster mania, I think will dictate the rest of the season. We'll get into my roster mania video later this week or next week where I'll talk about who I think is going to make a change, who doesn't need to make a change, and then if I do think they need a change, who will they make a change for? However, real quick, let's recap some of the matches that were big in this tournament. I think a good surprising team that made a big run after a change they made was Carolina Royal Ravens, even though they did not get to where I know they hoped they could. It was still really good for me to see them make a big run. They got a 3-0 win over Legion and then a 3-1 win. So that just shows they have Legion in their bag. They are able to be ranked higher, in my opinion, at the end of the season than Vegas because they were able to get those wins over them. Who knows what Minnesota is going to do? Also G2 for this tournament. They lose 3-0 to Surge. They lose to Gentlemates, who is one of the top challengers teams featuring Bance and Harry. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think they potentially blow up the roster, maybe keeping for sure Lens and Estriel because those two play pretty well. I think you can make an argument for DiamondCon, but I could also see him going and just kind of keeping that sub duo and then bringing in 2 new ARs. So who knows what they're going to do, but they got to do something because they made a change. Many people questioned their change, and they do not win a single match at the Esports World Cup. Same for Miami. I think you could make an argument just because of some of the things I saw in my sources I was texting around and hearing about. I think Miami just didn't try this tournament. I'm not going to say they didn't try. I just don't think they were as focused because 3-1 to Boston, 3-0 from the FaZe Black, a.k.a. the Stallions, for this tournament, and 0-2, never even made it past group play. However, I was very surprised to see Boston be able to make a big win here. Boston's team looks decent. Are they going to be shut down? We thought so, but then we've seen many different things come up that they might not be actually shutting down. So that's going to be something we got to watch for the next couple weeks. But however, these guys actually formed a pretty decent team. Not that top 5 or 6 range. However, I do think have a now top 8 team, maybe top 9, just because of how they looked at this tournament. Maybe I'm overlooking it or looking into it too much. However, I think they are not too bad with this roster, which is very surprising to me. And then, of course, this group play here, many people said FaZe kind of had a cakewalk to the grand finals, taking out 100 Thieves and Team Falcons. Team Falcons, yes, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but they just couldn't hang with the top level of competition in Call of Duty. I think it's cool they got to compete, but this 3-0 was the worst. It was just so not even close. And Lore Gaming, I know I had somebody say on my Twitter that, the Challengers champs, they went 2-2 with them and then lost 3-2 in that game 5. However, Lore didn't look good at all. I'm just going to be honest. So it doesn't surprise me that they were a little bit up and down, even though they won Challengers. They got destroyed by Thieves, barely beat Team Falcons, and then got destroyed by Thieves again. So it doesn't surprise me there. Who knows what those players are going to do next year. I think a lot of their momentum they had from champs might fall off after this kind of tournament. We'll just have to see. We get to our bracket, and Cloud9 going out early along with Ultra. I mean, that's just kind of surprising to a lot of people. This Surge Ravens match was very unfortunate with a lot of the issues that they were having. I think Surge very well could have lost this, and Ravens could have been in that spot. Who knows? I think Thieves still put it out and get to the finals. This Ultra loss, Cloud9, I don't know if it's going to actually be a big deal. Like I said, I think everything's going to ride around what Toronto does. Does Toronto make a change? That will then spark maybe a Cloud9 making a change. Maybe Thieves moving some people around if the right people are there. Surge, I expect to probably make a couple changes. We'll just have to see. Like I said, we'll talk about all that in a later video. But like I said, regardless, the Atlanta FaZe are your champions for the Esports World Cup. They take home a big bag of money and just the final bragging rights. I think this was a big win for them because with the momentum they had it going into champs, you think there's a chance they win it. Then they get top 6, and you have the rumors going around. Are the trio going to break up? Are they going to drop Draza and Celium? Do they keep them and maybe let a BZ go? All these rumors are going around. I think this solidifies this team of 4 playing in Black Ops 6 without a shadow of a doubt. FaZe are not going to make a roster change. They figured it out for this tournament, and they're going to keep working on it and try to go into Black Ops 6 with this roster. So I do not expect them to make a change at all. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like for more Call of Duty content. The season is officially over. We have Roster Mania coming up, and it's going to be juicy. So make sure to subscribe if you enjoy. Leave a like and comment down below who you think is going to make the biggest splash in Roster Mania this year. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.